What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with one man who is trying to fend off multiple great bodybuilders, some of whom are hungrier than ever for this year's Mr Olympia title. Now reigning Mr Olympia Derek Linford at 8 weeks out of this year's Mr Olympia. The man with the best back on the earth right now, and that too by quite some margin. So it is really cool to see Derek putting out all these updates, especially the recent one, where he's hitting that tremendous back double biceps, fully pumped in the middle of his back workout. And what can I say? There is definitely some meat that Derek has added in his back. And the thing is, Derek was already so far ahead of everyone in that back double biceps shot. Even at the Olympia last year, he was clearly in the lead from the back. But the thing is, he was never quite satisfied with his back. And his mentality was to take his back to a whole different level, and to create even more of a gap between him and everyone else. And right now, after watching this video, I have to say that he has achieved that level. I guess the one aspect where some guys can beat him from behind is the bicep peaks. For instance, Nick Fokker has great bicep peaks when he hits that back double biceps. But overall, the flow, the symmetry, the size right now, and the density that he's carrying, and not to mention those guitar-like hamstrings and insanely shredded glutes. The overall combination of Derek's back, that is just too much for anyone to take on. And even his back lat spread, that is looking wider than ever, definitely showcasing more effort than last year. So I think we can all agree, even at 8 weeks out, that Derek is taking those back shots without any shadow of a doubt once again. And the thing is, his competition, guys like Hadi Chopin, Samson Dauda, Andrew Jack, even Nick Walker, they all know that too. So will that be enough to defend his Mr Olympia title? I think Derek is gonna be far better from the front as well, and his side shots are gonna be even more impressive. So if that is the case, I believe he is gonna be extremely hard to beat. So people have been kinda underestimating Derek. But the thing is, the man is the reigning Mr Olympia, and he is gonna be the favorite going into that show. Next up, we have an update from the former Mr Olympia, Brendan Carey. I think Brendan is most probably the most disrespected Mr Olympia of the last 2 decades or so. And I'm not even talking about this year. Ever since he won his Mr Olympia title back in 2019, he has always been counted out. And he continues to prove people wrong every year. So it isn't something new for Brendan that people are counting him out once again. Now I get that people do not have him in their top 3, but not having him in their top 6, that is the first time it is happening to Brendan. So all the panelists at the Menace podcast, even an active IB pro with Lad, they did not have Brendan in their top 6. And one of the reasons people have lost their confidence in Brendan, especially this year, is because his former coach Abdullah, he made a public statement that Brendan isn't gonna be ready. He started his prep way too late. So what must be going on through Brendan's mind at 7.5 weeks out? Now there is a mutual consensus out there that he should have started this prep earlier, because at this point, he might be playing catch up in terms of his prep. So his upper body once again is gonna be world class, all round, all 3D, all bubbly. But the real issue, that is gonna be his legs. So as per the statement issued by Brendan, he is in a very good spot for 7.5 weeks out of this year's big show. But you just cannot ignore the age factor, plus the fact that he is with a new coach this time. And age, we all know, plays a major role in any bodybuilder's professional career, especially if someone has been competing for such a long time. Now, can you guys believe that there is only a gap of 2 years between Andrew Jack and Brendan Carey, with Carey being 41 and Jack being 39? But Andrew is considered a young guy in the sport because he started competing just 2 years ago, while Brendan made his Olympia debut back in 2011, so 13 years ago. So where do you guys have Brendan at this year's Miss Olympia? Next up, we have a 2.5 weeks out physique update of Hunter LeBron out of his first show of the year, Italy Pro. So many people are unimpressed with Hunter's look in the comment section of RX Muscle. Now people often totally forget that Hunter is one of those guys where video or picture cannot do him any justice. Especially when he's standing all alone, he doesn't look that impressive. A video can never justify how big this guy really is in person. So Hunter is the perfect example of a bodybuilder with no standout body parts. And sometimes that isn't a good thing. But the thing is, in case of Hunter, he is extremely balanced from every angle, front to back, top to bottom. And all of his mandatories, They are fairly impressive, except for his abs and thigh pose. Now when it comes to certain guys, they can never have those carved out abs, like Andrew Jacked, Hadi Chopin, or even Nick Walker, no matter how much they train, no matter how hard they train their abs, because that is just how their genetics are. And the thing is, Hunter has been focusing on his abs a lot, especially in this prep, and not just in the prep. We saw him practicing those vacuums even at the peak of his off-season. So Hunter has another 2.5 weeks to dial it in, and we saw how Hunter's physique drastically changed during those final few weeks leading into last year's Tampa Pro. And conditioning-wise, that is the standard to beat for Hunter. And I guess many people will now be extremely happy that Hunter isn't wearing that hat, because that became such a joke every time he posted a physique update or a video. But this time he isn't wearing one. And he also decided to shave off his head. So I'm sure all of you guys can see these striations in his side triceps as he is transitioning from the most muscular to the side chest. So I believe he's gonna bring the condition, and this is most probably gonna be his all-time best. Next up, we have an update of Rubiel Moscara, aka Nexilla. And as a bodybuilding fan, let's just hope that it's not something recent, because if that is a recent update, then there is just no way he is doing Italy Pro or even UK Pro, because both these shows are happening just 1 week apart. And if this training footage is in fact a recent one, that also solidifies the fact that the back shots that he posted yesterday, they were in fact old. So size alone will never be enough for Rubiel to win a pro show, especially a show where such a high caliber athlete like Hunter LeBron is entering. Now Rubiel was in a decent enough conditioning at Dubai Pro this year, and he was able to outmuscle everyone on that stage, even the top competition. But his conditioning and the overall package that he brought, that wasn't good enough to place in the top 3. And that is why the judges had him behind Nathan Deisha. And Nathan isn't the most perfect bodybuilder in this current era. And just because Rubiel regressed, especially in terms of his conditioning, from Prague last year to this year's Dubai Pro, the judges penalized him and placed him 4th. And I have to say, maybe the bodybuilding community in general, they are being unfair towards Nexilla, because the expectations that they have set for him, they are just far too high, especially for his rookie year. Now, as Jake Adler said, that Rubiel needs more time to refine his physique, to get more mature, get more density, before he becomes a real threat to those top 6 spots at the Olympia level. So that was an accurate assessment. So let's just hope that these are all videos, and Rubiel shocks us all in 2.5 weeks' time. Next up, we have an 8 weeks out physique update of Ahmad Ashkanani. So Ahmad is no longer even in the discussion of being a contender for the 212 title. In fact, he hasn't been considered a threat to the title since 2018, ever since Kamal and Derek came onto the scene. So if you guys remember Ashkanani, he had such great success in the beginning of his professional career. He was second at his first ever Mr Olympia. And that was the very first time people saw him against Flex Lewis, and they thought that he's the one who is gonna dethrone Flex Lewis in the later years, because he was arguably better in the upper half. But he went through his entire career without developing any separation in his legs, and that is what the judges and the fans wanted to see. So don't get me wrong, he is still a great bodybuilder. In fact, one of the very best in the 212. He was 5th in 2023, 4th in 2022, and every year people write him off that he is gonna be outside of the top 5. But Ashkanani has unbelievable amount of mass, an insane amount of density on his frame. He has great thickness front to back, and he brings that next level of conditioning as well. He's always pretty dry on the stage. Now people have more interest on who is gonna win between Sean and Keon, but these guys also need appreciation. So here is an interesting fact for you guys. That year Ahmad Ashkanani made his Olympia debut and placed 2nd. Sean Corrida that same year placed 13th out of 19 total guys, and that wasn't Sean's Olympia debut. So nothing but absolute respect for Sean, as he came a long way in the sport, and he has already solidified his legacy. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.